The future of your farm doesn't happen by accident. It happens through intentional conversations, clear plans, and strong leadership across generations. That's exactly what the Farm Forward Conference on March 27th at the Farm Wisconsin Discovery Center in Manitowoc, Wisconsin is designed to do to help farm families. Featuring family farm transition coach Elaine Fraze and a panel of legal, financial, and family business experts. It's a day dedicated to helping farmers move their farms and their families forward. And also among our speakers on March 27th is Kristy Pagel from Leading Edge Consulting. An expert in navigating difficult but necessary conversations, Kristy will bring her expertise to the afternoon session. Here's a sneak peek from this throwback episode number 38 of the Uplevel Dairy Podcast, where Kristy joined me to share her best insights on having those hard conversations. And to register for the one-day Farm Forward Conference, find the link in the show notes or visit upleveldairy.com and register under the Farm Forward Conference tab. Welcome to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. This is the podcast for dairy producers and professionals who are committed to moving our industry forward. I'm Peggy Coffeen, and each week we bring you the leaders, the lessons, and real-world stories from the people who have built the dairy business we know today and those who are shaping its future. Join us on the journey by following Uplevel Dairy on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and subscribe at upleveldairy.com to get new episodes and our Dairy Insights blogs right in your inbox. Kristy, for some of us, it's human nature to want to avoid confrontation, but too often what you see is that avoiding the conversations leads to missed opportunities for what could actually be positive outcomes.
So it's going to go one of two ways, okay? And ultimately, we want it to go the positive way. And so the positive way is that, honestly, you actually built a bigger and better bond with that individual that's on your team. They recognize that you sensed something. You were willing to have a conversation with them as their leader, and honestly, that you were willing to invest in them and walk alongside them. So you probably, in so many ways, by leaning into that conversation with them, actually probably looked at an opportunity to retain that person longer than if you had avoided the conversation.
And so this is the bigger vision, Kristy. This is the opportunity to look at a hard conversation as a way to actually engage, empower, and retain the good people who are on your team.
Especially if you want that individual on your team long term. You owe it to them. You owe it to them to lean in.
So a lot of managers went to school to manage cows, not people, and it can be really overwhelming to even know where to start. What's the first step in building the skill set to have those hard conversations?
The first part is really identifying what's the root. What's the root of the issue? Is it the individual? Is it that we didn't train them? Is it that we weren't clear in explaining what our expectations are? That's the first piece to that. For managers and for owners is that there's always two sides to every story. Maybe there's even 3 or 4, depending on how many you're dealing with. Yeah, and so we've got to really think about who is it that we've got to hear from. What are the facts that we need to gather so that we can begin to look at what's the objective and the objective measurables.
So we start by gathering the facts and looking at the objectives. These are the things we can measure, and that helps us to remove the emotion from these situations. And you have a tool, Kristy, that helps with this.
Through the work of the book Traction by Gina Wickman, which is one of my resource tools that I really like using, is the Employee Analyzer tool. And that Employee Analyzer tool takes into consideration the core values of an organization and really evaluating what is the passion, the skills, and the ability for someone to do the task and the role that they're in. Because ultimately, what are we trying to do as owners and as managers? We want to have the right person in the right seat.
So this Employee Analyzer is truly a matrix, a simple chart with the person's name on one side and across the top, these 3 categories. Head, referring to the skill set. Heart, referring to the passion and interest. And capacity, referring to the time availability.
It's a yes or no. Does the person have the skills and the knowledge to do what we're asking them to do? Do they have the passion and the heart to be doing what they're doing? And then thirdly, do they have the capacity and the time capabilities to do what we're asking them to do? It's a yes or no answer.
And what we can do too for our listeners out there that are maybe trying to jot this down or not in a spot where they can do it right now is include a link in our show notes for what this looks like in a form that you can download and then put into use in your own business. So what happens when there are no's in the matrix? Kristy finds that the dairy she works with don't necessarily want to let go of employees, so she's added one more column to that matrix.
Yeah, so once we have that in place, right, if we have an individual who has a no, okay, traction would say that that individual is likely not either in the right seat or the right person for your organization, and quite rigid in what to do. And so Leading Edge Consulting has actually shifted that a little bit and added another component or column to that, and that is, are we willing to reinvest or invest in this individual to get them on track? If the answer is yes by those that are evaluating, whether it's an owner or it's a leadership team that's working on that, if the answer is to reinvest, okay, what's our time frame to get that person back on track? Consider it like a personal development plan. Consider it like we are doubling down. We really want this person on our team, and we're willing to invest in them to get them on track. We may have put them in the wrong role. As management, we may have put them in the wrong role. So do we need to look at a different role?
Well, this is often a manager or management team conversation. Kristy finds the employee analyzer matrix can be even more effective when the team member fills it out for themselves.
We've actually asked employees to fill it out for themselves. Do they feel they have the skills? Do they feel they have the heart? Do they have the capacity? Because then you have a two-way conversation. We're not telling them, we actually are going to have a conversation because both have been evaluated. And so it's a win-win when we can do that. And at the same time, that helps us when it comes to having our conversations.
This approach has been successful for redirecting employees for even better performance.
Let's not forget about the benefit of empowering, encouraging, right? And getting a person back on track, okay? That's even more important to me is the win, is when you can get that right person in the right seat and you can actually see and feel their work that they're doing. Because that to me is the ultimate goal. As managers, we have to be very clear with ourselves. If this is someone underperforming because they don't have the passion, we need to really ask them the question, are you doing what you like to do? Because maybe they've done that and they're ready for what's next. Or maybe we've put them in a seat that really isn't aligned with their strengths and their passion. We've got to decipher, because sometimes individuals get into a spot where they've kind of done it and they've gotten bored. Right. And so what happens when we get bored or we say, I don't like doing that anymore, right? Some of that negativism can come in, or a little bit of that toxicity if they're not truly the right person and aligned core value wise.
So the employee analyzer matrix that Kristy uses is the tool, the skill set. But what about the mindset that a manager needs to take on to have those tough conversations?
Yeah, so there's three things, Peggy, that I really work with coaching on with clients when it comes to having these hard conversations. And it is about building their confidence in the message that they're going to have to deliver. It's working on their active listening skills and what that looks like. And then how do we get to forward looking when it comes to the outcome?
So that's building confidence, active listening, and forward looking.
So when we think about confidence, active listening, and forward looking, in order to do that, we need to write it out. What's the plan? When are we going to do it? How are we going to do it? What are we going to say? So when you think about that part, oftentimes it is practicing. It is role playing. It is practicing. And sometimes it's just being that sounding board for that conversation that they're going to have. The key thing in that second piece is active listening. Active listening is one of the 5 forms of communication that I really think often gets missed. And so when we think about active listening, what it is active listening means. for the individual that's either delivering the message or moderating between two individuals. Oftentimes, we just want to solve problems. We seriously just want to fix what is wrong. And the best thing we can do is listen, pause and listen. Ask a question. Tell me more. Help me understand. So what I hear you saying is this. Did I hear you correctly? That is practicing active listening. And that is so important when you're having hard conversations, because what happens, our limbic system kicks in, right? The person we're having a conversation with is nervous. They know something's up. Okay, we're nervous. And so we need to think about how we can breathe and have that confidence. And part of how we do that is by asking some questions so that the other individual can engage in the conversation. Also, replaying part of that conversation to them so they know we are hearing.
And the third piece for developing that manager mindset for difficult conversations is what Kristy calls forward looking.
This third piece is the part that we don't talk about, or we haven't put the strategy in place before this conversation. So we've done all the fact finding. We've done the what if scenarios, that sort of thing. But this third component is key. Forward looking. Where do we want to get? Okay. What do we want to have happen here? Either for that individual or the situation and the conversation you're having. And so it's most important, like, where do we want to go from here?
So how do you bridge to that?
The bridge here is as simple as this. So where do we want to go from here? This is what I see as an example. We want to work with you over the course of the next 3 months. In turn, here's what we're expecting. Is this something you can commit to? Right? So see how I built that bridge of forward looking? Oftentimes we get so caught up in the moment or the next 3 days or the next 3 weeks, but we're not identifying where and how we want that behavior to change and or where we want to get to have success.
Kristy makes this sound simple, but where do people get stuck in the process?
We get stuck on step one, and that's having the confidence and the courage to have the conversation. That's where people will get stuck initially. And then I will say the second part where I see people get stuck is the follow-up. The follow-up of what we said we want to have happen. So we can lay out this plan, we can say what we want the expectations to be, but if that individual isn't making progress and on track within the time frame we've laid out, we are going to have another hard conversation. And so that follow-up to what we laid out is another spot. So the reality is that we need to think about where there's risk. That's where this comes into play. Okay, we have spent a ginormous amount of time working with this individual. We have spent a lot of dollars, for them to be an underperformer. Are you willing to continue to do that? Because it's costing you money. If you are, we all have to agree that that's what it's going to be. If not, we need to take the next step. Right? And so my role in all of this, is to help not stay stuck.
Mm. Yeah. And
it's a tough spot. It's a tough spot. It is a tough spot, right? It's a balancing act. It's a delicate spot to be. Okay. That's the importance of walking alongside people wherever they are, meeting them where they are.
Well, Kristy, so we have had a whole conversation about having hard conversations, but I hope this is the easiest part of our chat today. And this is the Uplevel 5. This is the opportunity for you to share with us how you are pushing yourself for your next level of performance personally and professionally. And so, Kristy, Uplevel 5 question number 1 I have for you is this. What does success look like to you?
Success to me is continuing to serve the people that I do, my family and the clients that I get to work with in our industry as a whole. Serving looks a whole lot different today than it did at the beginning of my career. And so for me, many times it's just, it's giving back And it is about stepping out and to sometimes an uncomfortable zone, right? Going out 100% on your own can be pretty daunting and uncomfortable spot to be. But success to me is doing what I love to do and knowing that the rest will, God willing, will follow.
Hey, and that speaks to courage and confidence that you talked about today.
If I'm talking about it, I better be living it, right?
And you are. And so, Kristy, that leads me to question number 2. In 3 words, how do you want to show up each day?
3 words. Gosh, that's tough, Peggy. But 3 words: empathetic, caring, and I won't be able to do it in 3 words. Having fun.
And Kristy, that is you to a T. And Kristy, who are the thought leaders that you follow?
Where I'm at, Peggy, in regards to leaders, I've lost some pretty strong people in my life. And so the reality is I reflect frequently on those that I've lost who have been extremely impactful in my career. There was about a 2-year window where I lost 3, and those 3 are still in my refrigerator today. Honestly, pictures of them, and so I keep them pretty close. I'm not going to lie, and those individuals have definitely guided ways for me forward, and I live pretty true to them. One of them in particular is Dave Groteget from Groteget Dairy Farm. He used to get up. He'd be out in the barn by 3 a.m. And he was a man of not a lot of words, didn't require a lot of stage presence, but he taught me a lot of really good things. And so Dave Groteget's one of them. Everybody probably knows this one if they know me, and that's my Uncle John. Okay, he's definitely up there. And I don't think I have to say a whole lot about that because most of the industry knows Uncle John. But there's one thing that he told me, and a long time ago I heard him say it, and I'll live by it to the day I die. Our job is to open doors for other people and provide opportunity. And so I've lived that for a long time, and I probably will to the day I die. Yeah. And in the third one, this will be a sleeper. Most people won't know this one, but that's Andy Barta from the Barta family in Rattle Creek Feed Mill. Andy lost his life way too early with a wife and young kids, and I got the opportunity to work close with Andy through the farm technology days. That was a man going through a really tough time in his battle with cancer. And boy, he taught me in so many ways how you could stay positive throughout entire life. And so those are 3 of the individuals that I really hold near and dear to my heart.
And Kristy, I know that you are a woman who has quotes and words posted and collected in many spaces and places, but I want you to share, if you could summarize a quote or phrase that you live by, what is it?
I'm going to use the one that's actually right in front of me here. Opportunity is often found in the middle of a dilemma.
Okay, so that wasn't the one I was going to guess for you.
Really? What were you thinking?
Well-behaved women seldom make history.
Yeah, that's like pretty high on my list too, because that's right over here, Peggy.
And Kristy, up level question number 5 for you. What is your next up level? That area of your life, personally, professionally, that you are taking to the next level?
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff that's actually happening right now, right? Going out on my own 100% and us having what I always say is kind of our side hustle, our second business with the flower shop. For me, what's the next up level is to continue to keep building the teams of both of those businesses, and what will both of those businesses continue to do into the future. My job as the owner and the leader of those is to not only lead myself, but then to develop those people as well.
And Kristy, that is your passion. It's people. And we are so fortunate that you have chosen the dairy industry as a space and a place to bring that to life. Thank you for joining us on the Uplevel Dairy Podcast.
Thanks for having me, Peggy.
Thank you, Miss Kristy. If you'd like to reach out to Kristy Pagel and learn more about Leading Edge Consulting, you can contact her directly through the information in our show notes and find her on LinkedIn. This conversation is a sneak peek at the expertise we are bringing to farmers on March 27th at the Farm Forward Conference, a one-day event to empower farmers to take action on their transition and succession plans. This will take place at the Farm Wisconsin Discovery Center in Newton, Wisconsin, and include a light breakfast, lunch, and a packed day of deep dive training, including family farm coach Elaine Fraze, followed by an afternoon of transition talks and a panel featuring Will McKinley from Men Law, as well as Kristy Pagel from Leading Edge Consulting, Steve Bodart from AgriGrowth Solutions, and Tommy Ersch of Swiss Lane Farms. You can find information about the Farm Forward Conference and register today by going to upleveldairy.com under the Farm Forward Conference tab. Thank you for listening to the Uplevel Dairy Podcast. If you enjoyed today's conversation, make sure to follow the show, share this episode with your friends in the dairy community, and leave a review. At Uplevel Dairy, we are here to highlight the leaders, the lessons, and the real-world experiences that are shaping the future of our dairy industry. Find more by following us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram for behind-the-scenes content and upcoming guests. And subscribe at upleveldairy.com to get new episodes and our Dairy Insights blogs right in your inbox. I'm Peggy Coffeen, and until next time, keep on learning, keep on leading, and keep up-leveling your dairy.